You launch a game after a long day. Maybe it's Warzone, maybe Valorant, maybe Cyberpunk. At first, everything feels fine. Then something feels off. Your aim feels delayed. Mouse movement feels heavy. FPS is high. But the game feels inconsistent. Tiny stutters, random freezes. Weird hesitation when turning quickly. You lower settings. Nothing changes. You watch optimization guides. They tell you to disable half of Windows. Edit the registry. Install some FPS boost pack. Somehow your PC feels even worse afterward. Here's what nobody tells you. Most gaming PCs are not slow. They're unstable, misconfigured, unbalanced, overloaded with nonsense. That's the real problem. Gaming optimization in 2026 is no longer about chasing maximum FPS. Modern hardware is already extremely powerful. Optimization today is about consistency, frame time stability, responsiveness, latency, heat management, system behavior. The stuff benchmarks barely show. People still treat gaming performance like it's 2016. Bigger numbers equal better experience. That used to work when GPUs struggled to maintain 60 FPS. But now, even mid-range PCs can push hundreds of frames. The problem is those frames don't always arrive consistently. Imagine a drummer playing perfectly on beat. Smooth rhythm, predictable timing, that's good frame time consistency. Now imagine the same drummer randomly speeding up and slowing down every few seconds. Even if the average speed is technically faster, it sounds terrible. That's what inconsistent frame times feel like in games. This is why someone with a locked smooth 140 FPS often has a better experience than someone bouncing between 240 and 120 constantly. Stability feels premium. Chaos feels cheap. The moment another process interrupts it, frame time spikes appear. Open Task Manager on a clean PC, and you'll sometimes see over 200 processes running. Most users have no idea what half of them even do. Optimization starts with reducing unnecessary chaos, but this does not mean turning Windows into a broken operating system. That's where people get trapped. The internet is full of extreme optimization guides that destroy stability in the name of FPS. Disabling critical services, breaking Windows Update, editing random registry values copied from old forums. And the worst part, placebo makes people think it worked. Many optimization tweaks improve benchmark numbers while making gameplay feel worse. Synthetic tests are predictable. Real gameplay is messy. Background loading, asset streaming, network activity, audio processing, driver scheduling, input bursts, all happening at once. So let's do this properly. Start with startup applications. Disable everything non-essential, not your GPU driver, not your audio driver, but things like unnecessary RGB software, cloud sync apps, stacked launchers, manufacturer bloatware, and random utilities you forgot existed. Every startup app is another layer of background activity competing for resources. Think of your CPU like a restaurant kitchen during rush hour. Your game is the main order. Every unnecessary process is another customer yelling for attention. Next, temperatures. Heat is one of the biggest hidden causes of poor gaming performance. Modern CPUs and GPUs aggressively boost clocks when thermal conditions allow it. But boost behavior changes constantly based on temperature. This is why two identical PCs can feel completely different in games. One system maintains stable boost clocks. The other thermal throttles quietly every few minutes. No warning, no crash, just inconsistent frame times and sudden sluggishness. Dust buildup alone can increase temperatures dramatically over time. Clogged airflow and dirty heat sinks can push systems over 10 degrees hotter. That's massive in modern boosting behavior. Airflow matters more than people realize. Expensive hardware trapped inside a poorly ventilated case becomes a tiny oven. Front intake, rear exhaust, clean airflow path, positive pressure, fan curves, even room temperature matters. Now let's talk graphics settings. Most people optimize settings backwards. They instantly lower everything. Shadows, textures, effects. Then they wonder why the game still feels strange. Some settings barely affect performance while massively hurting image quality. Others silently destroy responsiveness. Understanding which settings matter changes everything. Ultra textures often have minimal FPS impact if you have enough VRAM. Ray tracing, however, can heavily affect frame time consistency. Motion blur should usually disappear immediately. But the real performance killer most people ignore is unstable frame generation settings and poorly optimized upscaling combinations. Frame generation is becoming huge in 2026. And honestly, it's both amazing and misunderstood. People see doubled frame rates and assume the experience is automatically better. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Generated frames improve visual smoothness, but they do not improve real input responsiveness proportionally. In some cases, they increase perceived latency. Competitive players notice this instantly. Casual players often feel something is wrong without understanding why. Frame generation works best when your base frame rate is already healthy. Optimization is contextual. There is no universal best settings guide for every PC. Now let's discuss storage because SSD behavior is massively underestimated in gaming. Modern games constantly stream assets during gameplay. If your storage stalls, your game stalls. A nearly full SSD behaves differently than a healthy one with free space available. Cheap SSDs also collapse under sustained workloads once their cache fills up. An SSD overheating quietly during gameplay can absolutely create stutters and freezes. People spend huge money on GPUs, then install games onto terrible budget drives with no airflow. RAM configuration matters too. Not just capacity, configuration, speed, stability, latency. In 2026, 32 GB is becoming the realistic sweet spot for gaming plus multitasking, but unstable RAM creates random issues. Crashes, freezes, corrupted downloads, audio crackling. And because the symptoms seem random, users rarely suspect memory first. Stability always matters more than theoretical speed. A lot of gaming optimization is actually just reducing inconsistency, not increasing speed. That's why experienced PC users often prefer capped frame rates. Unlimited FPS sounds powerful. But uncapped systems constantly fluctuate in workload, temperatures, voltages, fan speeds, and frame times. A stable frame cap creates predictable behavior. Drivers are another messy area. New drivers can improve one game while introducing stutter in another. Windows updates can also alter scheduler behavior and power management unexpectedly. Stable drivers matter more than newest drivers. Your PC is an ecosystem. One unstable component can contaminate the entire experience. Power settings are another disaster area, especially for laptop users. Modern laptops constantly balance power, heat, battery life, and performance dynamically. Gaming while plugged into the wrong charger can massively reduce performance. Incorrect power plans can create latency spikes. Then there's the internet side of optimization. Everybody talks about ping. Almost nobody talks about buffer bloat. You can have low ping and terrible responsiveness simultaneously if your network saturates under load. Someone starts Netflix, someone uploads files. Suddenly your game feels delayed, despite good ping. Network consistency matters exactly like Frametime consistency. That's why Ethernet still dominates competitive gaming. Wi-Fi keeps improving, but interference and congestion still exist. Now here's the part most people don't want to hear. Optimization takes testing. Real testing. Not random guessing. Change one thing at a time. Observe behavior, monitor frame times instead of obsessing over average FPS. Random tweaking creates random results. Experienced troubleshooters stay calm because they follow systems instead of emotions. Most modern gaming PCs are already capable. They're just badly configured, overheated, bloated, inconsistent. The best optimization strategy in 2026 is surprisingly simple. Remove unnecessary chaos. Stabilize behavior, improve cooling, balance components, prioritize responsiveness over benchmark screenshots. Your goal isn't the highest FPS counter possible. Your goal is a PC that disappears while you play. No hesitation, no stutter, no weird interruptions, just smooth, predictable performance, because that's what optimization actually means. Not chasing fake tweaks, not downloading ultimate FPS packs. Your PC is powerful. It's just overwhelmed. Clean it up properly, and you'll finally feel the performance you already paid for.